God created many things, and until now there are still things that we do not know. Today we will talk about the strangest 10 animals that baffled scientists. Number 10, Axolotl. An axolotl is a small animal that lives in water and looks like a fish with 4 legs. An axolotl is a type of amphibian, but it only lives in water. This tiny little Mexican animal that lives in the water has a strange face with a bump that, most of the time in its larval state, prevents it from reproducing. This animal also has regeneration capabilities that have caught the attention of the scientific community, as it, says Emmanuel Cora Costa, a biologist at the University of La Plata, Universidad Nacional de La Plata, in Argentina, regenerates almost everything in its body. He regenerates limbs, heart, lungs, jaw, eyes, and even recreates part of his brain if it's damaged, all without scarring. The animal regenerates every organ that is injured, if not fatally injured, says Parker Flowers of Yale University, who is part of a team studying the miracle salamander's genome, an invaluable attraction for researchers interested in how the human body can repair itself. Unfortunately, it is threatened with extinction in its natural habitat. It can live for up to 10 years of age if cared for correctly. Number 9, Heterocephalus. Scientists call it Heterocephalus, which means that its head is irregular in shape, but most people call it a naked mole rat because it is devoid of hair, and it is almost deaf and blind, but it has some amazing characteristics, the most important of which is its way of life. It lives in colonies and tunnels, with a very strict social hierarchy and under the authority of the queen, which means it is closer to the organization known to most insects. This mole has a language or languages such as chirping, and recent studies have shown that each colony has its own dialect, and the mother is the one who decides the language that will be spoken in her colony. The mouse has another amazing feature. It is a cold-blooded mammal that does not feel most forms of pain. It is also able to survive in almost oxygen-free environments by transforming into a plant, or more precisely, by behaving in the same way that plants do. As the team of Professor Thomas Park of the University of Illinois explains, what draws the attention of biologists and geneticists to this animal is its immunity to cancer, as researchers at Cambridge University discovered that these animals have the same susceptibility to cancer as other species, but the way their cells are organized in their bodies was a mechanism to combat this disease. Number 8, Water Bear. This animal was transferred to the International Space Station, and it was studied, and it is found all over the planet, and an Israeli probe that contained a few thousand of it crashed on the surface of the moon in April 2019, and it is very likely that these organisms survived, even in a state of hibernation. Although the water bear cub is microscopic, it has enormous capabilities. It is a slow gait and can survive the vacuum of space, temperatures near absolute zero, boiling water, dangerous radiation and powerful impacts such as those of a rifle bullet. This organism can survive in hostile environments, as it solidifies completely and then returns to life, but the only negative it has is that global warming will be harmful to it, as a group of scientists from the University of Copenhagen showed that water bears do not like high temperatures for a long time. Number 7, Blob. Blob? A memory without a brain. The blob occupies the second place in human interest, right after water bears, and it is not an animal, plant, bacteria, mold, or virus. Rather, Viscerum polycephalum, its scientific name, is classified as a living organism, not cellular, and therefore it does not consist of cells, but of networks of interconnected tubes that can extend for several meters. It has no organs, let alone a brain, yet it is capable of learning and communication. The writer wondered, how is it possible to memorize without nerve cells? However, French researchers from the Animal Cognition Research Center explained in 2019 that Blob learns to tolerate a substance by absorbing it. A German team this year shed light on this puzzle, saying that the structure of this organism's network can act as a memory of the past, said Professor Karen Alim, co-author of this study. Number 6, Animal awakens after 24,000 years. An animal awakens after 24,000 years. The writer said that a microscopic animal woke up from a slumber that lasted 24,000 years, as these microbes were discovered in the permafrost in Siberia by a Russian team, who were able to determine the history of the frozen soil layer in which they were present. But this body is not a simple bacteria, but an animal. Multicellular, and was able to reproduce by parthenogenesis. The Russian team pointed out that its study has so far constituted the strongest evidence that multicellular animals can survive for tens of thousands of years, in a state in which their metabolism almost completely stops. Number 5, Immortal jellyfish. The immortal jellyfish is known as the only known animal capable of returning to childhood. It starts with an egg, then a larva, then polyps, then moves to adulthood. It is a jellyfish that swims lazily in the water, except that it can develop upside down, to return to the state of appendages. Adenoids that give birth to a jellyfish are genetically identical to their predecessor, and thus begin to age again, in a process that theoretically makes them immortal. Number 4, hoatzin. This bird, though not a cousin of the weasel, shares the characteristics of smell with it, being a beautiful multicolored bird with puffy plumage known for its stink about the size of a pheasant, and feeding exclusively on leaves. The hoatzin bird has a weak wing like chicken, and like cows it has several pockets in the stomach, where digestion occurs slowly, and the rotting leaves in its digestive system generate the smell that earned it the nickname of the stinking bird, and it lives in the tropical forests of South. Number 3, Euspinolia, panda ant. It is known by this name because it somewhat resembles a miniature panda with an extra pair of legs, and someone unfamiliar with the classification of insects might think it an ant, because the individuals of Euspinolia and its cousins of the velvet ants resemble ants, although they are the closest relatives of the wasp, with the females do not have wings. The panda ant lives in Chile, and it has a sting that does not hesitate to use it, and it lays its eggs among the larvae of bees and other wasps, to feed on the larvae of its hosts. Number 2, giant squid. Giant squid is a mythical beast. The giant squid is not completely giant, as the largest adult animal discovered from it weighs a ton, and its length is about 13 meters. It lives in distant depths, feeding on fish and other squids, and it was seen alive for the first time in 2006. Scientists were able to sequence the genome of the giant squid in early 2020, and it consists of 2.7 billion base pairs, or 90% of the size of the human genome. The eyes of this creature are 30 centimeters in diameter, which is the largest in the entire animal kingdom, but it does not live more than 5 years approximately. Number 1, Argaunot Argo. Argonauts, mollusks of the year. The Argaunot Argo mollusks have no special abilities other than their appearance, which is what won them the Mollusk 2021 beauty contest, as a jury of specialists selected 5 contestants out of 120 nominations, and the public voted on the internet for the winner, who is of the Argaunot Argo type, which was announced in the first of last February. The female of these mollusks has special arms that resemble oars and secrete a ceramic shell as thick as a sheet, which forms for her a kind of boat to protect her eggs, and she is a fierce predator despite her calm behavior, because she injects poison into her prey from deep sea mollusks. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.